Good afternoon. Welcome back. It is Monday, May 1st, 2023. We are starting our fifth month of this series, the birthdays and special events. So we're going to jump right into the events. And this really is a day that there wasn't a lot that happened, and not a lot of people had birthdays today. So, really, two things that happened. The first one, 1988, Phil Parsons wins at Talladega in the Winston 500 for his first and only career Cup Series win. If you listen to some of the podcasts that his crew chief Andy Petrie was on, he doesn't go into any detail about how they doctored that car up, but apparently they snookered the officials with this car, and it was super fast that day. Also on this day, 1994 at Talladega, Dale Earnhardt won the Winston 500. This race had a couple multi-car crashes. Not really anything in the race itself stood out. Jeff Bodine did have a single car accident early in the race where he blew a tire because somebody threw a bottle or a can on the track and he cut his tire and hit the wall. But in Victory Lane, Earnhardt said something which takes us to our next event. It happened earlier that day in San Marino. Michael Schumacher won the F1 race that day, but it was the day that Ayrton Senna was killed in the crash in the Tamburello Corner. And as we all know, that went through a lot of court systems with Williams and F1, the track. Just so many people was involved in a lawsuit. The country of Brazil actually had 3 days of mourning for Senna as he was a national hero. But in Victory Lane at Talladega, Earnhardt dedicated the win to Senna and his family because it was well known that day that Senna was killed in that crash that was televised live on ESPN that same day. So a lot of the NASCAR drivers used to watch those races in the early morning, prior to their race. And so it was just kind of a very, very freak accident. There sadly have been a couple more tragedies in F1 since then. But the cars are a lot safer than they were in 1994, both in F1 and in NASCAR. So anyway, on to our birthdays. Born on this date in 1967, he is the son of perhaps one of the greatest racers that ever lived, Mark Donohue, David Donohue. David did run a few bush races and truck races in the early 2000s and late 2000s and early 2010s. Never much success. I believe he's kind of been a crew chief and worked in some of the road racing series and so forth. But we do have a couple birthdays with cards. Born on this date in 1954. Sadly, I believe it was, 2006 when he passed away? Randy Dorton. He was, of course, in that plane crash, that Hendrick plane crash that happened prior to the Fall Martinsville race. I want to say it was 2006. I could be wrong. Might be 2004. Just kind of drawing a blank on that. But Randy was well known for his engines and started working with the Hendricks team back in mid to late 80s. And they had some really, really strong power plants. Our other birthday today, again, we have another chameleon. Yesterday it was Michael Waltrip and Elliott Sadler. Today, born on this date in 1978, Mr. Johnny Sauter. And what do I mean by chameleon? He changes colors a lot. So I kind of put these in as best as chronological order as I could. Of course, he ran for RCR full-time and then part-time. Of course, he replaced Harvick in the 2 car. Then he was teammates with Harvick in the 21 payday car. Got called up to replace Steve Park in the 30 AOL car. Of course, Park replaced Jeff Green. And then they hired Sauter to go for Rookie of the Year in 04. And then he was released near the end of the year, and Jeff Burton jumped in that car. He drove the Bruco Kleenex car, which I kind of don't remember this, kind of do, but kind of don't. Then he was in James Finch's yellow transportation car. And many of you probably seen this and said, well, the color's orange. Yeah, the color is actually Swamp Holly orange. And the reason that the yellow transportation color uses it is this color of orange. Now, this, if you see it in person, it's a lot brighter. But this color of orange is the easiest to detect on a car or a truck from a long distance. So that's why the yellow transportation went with the Swamp Holly orange. And there's a different version of the yellow transportation. And this is when he was driving for Haas, when it was still Haas CNC. There you see the number 70. Of course, teammates with the 66 of Jeff Green. Of course, that would eventually become SHR's, numbers 14 and 39, I believe. Then he went back to the trucks with ThorSport, with the Fun Sam truck. And then I'm not sure if this is one of the ThorSport trucks. It is. And what's it say? In-country television. Like I said, I don't remember a lot of these different incarnations that he drove for, all these different paint schemes. Safe Auto with ThorSport. And he was playing hokey pokey with ThorSport quite a bit. He'd be in and out and in and out, and then ran a part-time schedule with him a few years ago. So that was with the 98 truck, again, a ThorSport truck. Then he went with Gallagher Motorsports for a bit. And of course, the Gallagher family, I believe, are owners of Allegiant Air. And then this is another GMS, just a generic GMS uniform. I believe after this, he went back to ThorSport for a part-time season, and he just recently was announced as the replacement driver in the 04 truck, I want to say. I can't remember who was driving it. Caden Honeycutt, I believe, was driving it, and then it was just recently announced that Sauter was replacing him. So anyway, like I said, not a lot of birthdays today, not a lot of events, so pretty fast video. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you come back tomorrow. I've got a fun little mail day, and I'm sure you guys will like it. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.